Hi, I'm Christina.
I'm Maya from
Book
Dreams,
Dreams,
and welcome to a new video.
As you can see, today we are doing our quarterly cozy fantasy reading review.
Right.
Book. Okay.
Book review.
Book review. And today we're talking about Can't Spell Tea Without Treason.
No, Treason without T. See, because you can't spell Treason without T by Rebecca Thorne.
Okay, I miss. Okay, so this is the first book in the Tomes and Tea Cozy Fantasies series. And yes, it came out in 2022. So Maya,
You did?
yes, tell us what it's about.
Is the sequel out?
No.
Thank God. Alright, so in this book we follow two characters. We follow Reina and Chiante, whatever her name is. So Reina is a royal guard of an evil, vicious queen, and Chiante is like a roaming mage, but she's like the top mage of her. Like she has a title and whatnot.
Mage of Ages.
Whatever. She has a title of her own. So they met.
Arcandor, yes.
Excellent. They met a couple of years ago and started a secret relationship because Reina doesn't really have the freedom to partake in regular life. So after a typical day in the queendom, I always kept bumping over that word in the text. With her vicious queen, she decides to leave and run away, thus committing treason. And she basically hooks up with
Chiante,
right?
Chiante.
Tea. Or I can do key. All right. And together they go and open a tea shop that also sells books, which was something that they have been talking about for a while now, like sort of running away, starting a new life. And then stuff starts to happen because there's a mystery of the dragon attacks in the city that they have decided to settle in. And that's the story.
Yes. So for me, I liked it because it was like a quick read, like, you know, just we say put your mind on the pasture, but basically, you know, you don't have to think about it. It's nothing, you know.
Shut off your brain and
you shut off your brain. Yes, thank you. You can shut off your brain. It's very quick. I really liked the griffins. There was griffins as like what are they?
Horses. That's horses with wings, but yes, they
like
were
a
used
companion.
like...
How do you say it? It's not
a pet companion. Animal companion. It's not even is it an animal companion?
I mean, they are very linked.
I know, but she uses it as a horse that, you know, flies around and stuff.
Yeah, true. Anyways, griffins, it reminded me of Sarah J. Maas and Manon and, like, all that stuff. So I was, like, kind of, nostalgia. And I really kind of... I was okay with Reina's and Chiante's relationship because while they were talking, like in their mind, like when you hear their thoughts, they usually commented on how well they communicate, which I understand can be very tiresome when you read it, but I really would prefer that to them
lack of communication,
having lack of communication, and then that being a conflict at some point.
What situation they were in.
So like I preferred that, but I understand why somebody would be annoyed that they're talking about how well they communicate rather than actually showing how they communicate well. You know, so for me it was a fun read. You know,
it was a fun fantasy adventure, right?
Yes, fun fantasy adventure
with a strong romance, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. My biggest problem with this book, I mean, is the fact that it is marketed as a cozy fantasy, but it's not a cozy fantasy.
The title of the series is Cozy Fantasy.
It is not a cozy fantasy, and I mean, I went into it expecting like
Legends and
lattes. So I expected two characters in a relationship working in their shop, and you know, I guess day-to-day challenges of running a shop. The same thing we got in Legends and Lattes. It's not what I got.
I mean, there is a part of it.
Yes,
but not. No. I was just trying to say there is a part that mentions that, but it is not a larger part of the book.
Yes,
it's just kind of throw it in. It's more of a background.
They had no challenges. There was no trial and error in running this shop. Everything came naturally and easily, and suddenly they have bagels with cream, and suddenly they have a library, and suddenly there's like I mean, it was like they built up a shop in one day. And like, I understand that Key is like magical and she's a mage and whatnot, but dude, come on, seriously? At least, I don't even know the orc's name. Not the orc, she's, oh my god, the girlie in
Viv.
Legends and Lattes, Viv, right? Like, at least she, like, took her time to build her stuff and like, you know, experiment with food and with drinks and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that was the cozy aspect of this. This was, like, no, not that. Because the other plot in this story, like the dragon mystery and hiding away from the evil queen, is too high stakes to be cozy. And that's, like, my biggest problem. And as I was reading it, I was getting more and more annoyed because I wasn't getting what I was sort of marketed and what was sort of alluded to with the title. Now, about the relationship. Okay, fine, they're in a relationship, that's great. What I missed, I like the beginning.
Yeah,
of
I
the
know you
relationship.
do. Yeah,
I like when because at the end of this book there is a little epilogue which basically sets up the sequel.
Yes.
In which obviously the two characters that we follow are going to, like, they're sort of enemies because one of them is a sheriff, the other is like a pirate outlaw person. So together they're going to, I guess, end up together in the second book. So we could sort of see the development of their relationship from like adversarial position to like becoming friends and whatnot, and then coming more. But here we're like smack in the middle of this relationship, and I miss this sort of build up of them like coming together and whatnot. I mean, the communication was good, but there was a lot of tell and not show. Like, oh, look how good we're communicating. I mean, we can see that. And like, there were mentions of like previous conflicts and mentions of like whatever problems they had before. But it was like, you know, sort of said in passing, and you're like, well, that sounded interesting. Can you, like, you know, elaborate and whatnot? And like, the other thing that I really was bugging me was the fact that Kay had a very overly dramatic reaction to Rain getting hurt. It was kind of soap opera-y. Like, I understand, like, maybe she's like a more anxious person than Rain and whatnot.
She is described though as a very, 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 very anxious person who's like constantly scared of something.
Yeah, but it just sort of seemed like out of nowhere we finally have this over dramatic reaction to Rain being hurt, and I was like, okay, I get it, you're worried, but you know, having to run away from the town and like being sort of driven out of the healing center or whatnot because you're, you know, disrupting the healing process, it was like a bit too much in my opinion, because we don't have that sort of historical background of them, you know, being together and whatnot. That was something that was bugging me.
So you thought it was too emotional, that her reaction was too emotional because we didn't get the...
Yeah, I didn't have the background of like, okay, so this is like normal for, you know, I guess them.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright, what else? The side characters were kind of like, this is what I'm like sort of bumping into. They didn't have really a conflict other than the main villain, which is the queen.
Yes.
And like her minions that we meet like in the last third of the book. And, you know, everyone they met, they suddenly became good friends.
With, yeah.
And, you know, and there was a bit of inconsistency in the book, because I just remember that, because I don't really see details sometimes. I just keep on reading, right? And so they talked about, like, oh, well, Reyna has to hide from her queen, so let's call her Sia. Because, you know, like, nobody will connect her to her previous position. And then in the immediate next scene, they go to the pub to drink, and they meet the healer and the blacksmith. And, you know, Key was like, oh yeah, I'm with Rain all the time. Like, where Rain goes, I go. I'm like, aren't you supposed to be calling her Sia because you are, like, hiding and whatnot? So I was like, oh my god, like, yeah. I was like, it was...
I didn't even notice it. I think I read the book, like, literally like you described it. Like, I flew over it. Like, like it was just because like, oh, whatever.
It's a typical, I mean, it's a basic fantasy adventure story with a strong romance. Yeah. And if it were marketed as such, and given, and the LGBTQ romance sort of given like a top position, or like being the focus of the marketing, I don't think people would bump up on the book so much. I mean, like, the ratings are good on Goodreads, they're 4 point something, but, you know, still, if you go expecting something like Legends and Lattes, you will be sorely disappointed, and you will be annoyed, like I was. Yeah. And then I gave it 2 stars. I mean, if it weren't like that, I would give it 3 stars, no problem, because, you know, it's okay. Like, it's nothing spectacular, whatnot. They are following this mystery, which, by the way, doesn't get resolved at the end of the book, which is also annoying.
I mean, obviously, the entire this entire book is the setup for the next book.
Yeah.
We literally talked about it. Like, the next book is gonna be probably about finding the resolution to the dragon problem, and then the next book is gonna be Quintillane comes back and kind of does something, and they have to resolve that.
Becomes
conflict.
a threat to the relationship and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was a bit annoyed reading this because I was like, I'm expecting Legend and Lattes, and I got like a basic.
If you
fantasy adventure.
if you weren't as enthused about Legends and Lies, like I liked it. It was like really,
It was fine.
it was nice.
For you, it was
Yeah. So this was just like equally fine, I guess. You know, it did. I didn't compare it because and it didn't hurt me to say like that much, because like it was like, okay, like I didn't treat it. I almost didn't treat it as a cozy fantasy because I wasn't so invested in Legends and Lattes.
She also, the author also mentions Travis Baldry, who is the author of Legends and Lattes, in her acknowledgements at the end. Like, thank you, Travis, for your support and such. I was like, if he read this, why didn't he tell her that this is not cozy fantasy and whatnot? Anyway, because she was like, oh, thank you for like putting cozy fantasy on the map, and like everyone else can now like put the work up and like market it as cozy fantasy. But it's not cozy fantasy. That's my like overall like summary of my review. I mean, it's a basic fantasy adventure in like a vague Arthurian land. Like, not a lot of like details of given. You have
there's basically no world
building at all. Like everything comes easy to the main characters. You know, besides their running away from the queen and whatnot. But everything else that they try is like easily achieved. It isn't really like a lot of, I don't know, struggle, I guess. I mean, I guess they have it a lot in their personal lives, but so they don't really have it in their professional ones. But still, it's like, yeah, whatever. It's like, mozak na pašu I čitamo. Yeah, so that's it. That's our review. Do you want to add something?
No, it's fine. No.
So this is the second book that we are in our quarterly. The first one we read was the
Wizard's Guide to
Reviews, up and down below. Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see what's the next one. I don't even know.
I don't. Is it Skullduggery Pleasant?
Is it? It could be, because it's like he has a skull, and we thought like September, October. Yeah. Okay, so it might be that. So yeah, look forward to that. Hopefully, it will be more successful than this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Please like, share, subscribe. Press the bell button if you want to get notifications whenever we post new videos.
There are some links in the description box for you to check out, so please do click on them. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.